Hey house guests, welcome to today's Big Brother 19 updates and spoilers. We have two house guests of the day today, Lauren and Brian Cuervo. And I want to wish a happy belated birthday to Brian. It was actually on August 1st, but I really suck at getting the dates right this year. So I'm so sorry that I missed your birthday, but I hope you had an amazing time. And if anybody put in like a special date request and I missed it, I am so sorry, but I'm working on it, I promise. But thank you guys so much for your support. I hope you guys are having a great day, and if you guys want to be house guests of the day, check out our Patreon link in the info box below. Okay, so remember in yesterday's spoiler when I was like, hey, hopefully something will happen so we can talk about it tomorrow? I'm not saying that I caused this, but something big happened yesterday. The house kind of blew up again. So the house guests had the Snapchat glasses. A bunch of them put on tutus and were like dancing around, having a good time with it. And then Josh started doing his circus act in the backyard with pots and pans. Christmas was like scooting around, like, woo! Jess and Cody were not having it, okay? They were not feeling it at all because Jess knows that she's going this week and she's tired of everybody doing their, what is that, like a dog and pony show? Is that what it's called? Dog and pony show for the cameras. So anyway, Josh, Paul, and Jess were in the kitchen. And Paul and Josh were joking like, oh, Matt's the cause of the California drought because he takes so many showers. But seriously, do you need to take that many showers? Try changing your clothes every once in a while. So then Jess asks Josh, hey, can you spell drought? And he does. And then Jess is like, oh, okay, well, I'm sure there are like 100 other words that I can stump you with. So then Josh is like, well, actually, I'm very smart. I have a college degree and I own my own business and I'm 23 years old and it's very successful. And Jess is just like, okay, I don't give a crap. And she walks away. But woo, that was kind of bitchy. So then Josh is telling the people outside about Jess's snarky comment. And Paul is like, you know what? Just kill them with kindness. Forget about it. And then Christmas is like, oh, Jess is just salty because she's going home this week. And she's also mad because she used her hex inappropriately and I used mine appropriately. Keep telling yourself that. So then they're joking around. They're having a good time telling Mark, who was wearing the Snapchat glasses, to go tell Jess certain things like, how does it feel to be evicted this week? Blah, blah, blah. Just things like that. And they're all laughing about it. And then Paul's like, well, why don't you go ask her how to spell evicted? So then, well, so much for killing them with kindness. Josh freaking jumps up and runs inside. He's so excited about this. Everybody else is following him like, I gotta see this. So Josh is like, all right, where's Mark? Where's Jess? Because he wants this to be recorded for Snapchat. So he's like, Mark, I'll have a snap. So Mark is like, doop. He starts recording and Josh is like, Jess. And before he can even say it, she's like, you know what? Go F yourself. You're so dumb. She starts walking away from Josh, and Josh is like, Jess, I know how to spell drought, but can you spell evicted? So then he's like laughing his ass off, and he starts walking back outside, and he's like, I wanted to play nice, and then she wanted to be a smart ass. You wanted to play nice. You wanted to play nice. So Jess is like, seriously, he's the dumbest human being I've ever met in my life. Alright, so then a few minutes later, Josh comes back into the kitchen. Jess and Cody are still sitting at the counter, and Cody is freaking staring Josh down. It's so awkward. So Josh like walks away for a little bit, comes back. Cody is still staring at him. So Josh walks over to them at the counter, and he's like, hey, you want to talk about something? And Jess warns him, my dentures are slipping, to stay away. She's like, this is not the day to mess with me. Don't freaking do it. Just walk away. So then Cody jumps in and he's like, you want to get up in our faces, you fat effing prick? And then he says, listen here, you effing piece of shit. So then Jess cuts him off like, don't. It just went from 0 to 60 in like less than a second. So Josh is like, what? I didn't even put you on the block this week. Which is true, like, Jess ended up on the block because of the temptation competition, but still, like, Josh made it very clear in his nomination speech that he was going after Jess, so, you know, let's just keep that in mind. So then, Cody is telling Josh, you just came over here to get attention with the Snapchat glasses, I know exactly what you were doing, and Josh is talking again about how he's got a college degree, he owns his own business, it's successful, and Jess and Cody are like, that's great, but you're still the dumbest person we've ever met. So then Cody goes to another level. He's like, you waddle around here with your fat body, acting like you're all tough, because you know we can't do shit in here. I just want to note, I took out all the F-bombs from most of these statements just because I did not feel like writing them all out, and it's just like, there was a lot of F-bombs in here, so just keep that in mind as well. So then, Cody's saying, you want to try this on the outside? Go for it. I effing dare for you. One slipped in there. But anyway, yeah, he's going there, and it's not good. I'm just going to say right here, I do not support anything Cody's saying here. You should not make comments like that about somebody's weight or appearance. You should not make threats to somebody like that. That's not right. But anyway, Josh says they're making it personal, and Jess keeps telling him, go away. And I'm going to say right here, too, Josh should have listened and walked away. She's telling you, get out of my face, get away from us, and he was not listening. So then Josh is saying he's upset that she called him stupid earlier, and she's like, I never actually did call you stupid, but I'm going to now. You're stupid. So then Josh is saying, well, you're going to feel stupid when you watch all this back. I think everybody in this house pretty much should feel stupid when they watch all this back, because this season, no words to describe this season. So then, Cody, again, too far. He's saying he's going to destroy Josh on the outside. He's going to rip him apart and make the whole world know how big of a piece of shit he is. Okay, so then Josh is like, you don't have the power to do that. And he's asking Cody, why are you so mad? This is just a game. You don't even know me. Like, you haven't taken the time to get to know me. And Jess is like, we don't talk to people that we don't like. So then Josh tells Jess, you're digging your own grave. And she's like, baby, I've got a life outside of this house. If you're going to evict me, I'm not scared. So then Josh is saying, well, nobody asked you. And Jess tells him, enunciate, Josh. I mean, they haven't given him crap, everybody in the house, about saying axed instead of asked. I feel like there's somebody every season who everybody picks on for saying axed. Get over it, okay? I will admit, I used to be one of those people that corrected people's grammar and shit all the time, and it was super obnoxious. So, like, ugh, gross. Okay, anyway, Josh is again saying that they're making it personal, and they're going to feel stupid watching this back after everything's over. So then he accuses Jess of playing Cody's game, and he's saying Cody single-handedly ruined your game. And Jess is like, I don't care. People are only keeping you around because you can't think for yourself. So then Jess and Josh, mother effer. Josh is saying that he's only 23 and he's so much more mature than them. And he's saying that Cody just shuts down socially. Could cut my own tongue out of my mouth. And he's saying that he can just go into Starbucks and sit down and have a conversation with anyone. I would be so annoyed if some stranger came up to me in Starbucks and started talking to me. I hate that. But anyway, he's saying that he could obtain a conversation. They're telling him that's not a word. I think he was going for, like, maintain. It was like a mixture of maintain and, like, upkeep. But he said obtain. And they were making fun of him for that. So then Josh is saying everybody thinks that Cody's a dickhead. And he's saying that he doesn't have to play nice anymore. Were you playing nice, though? Were you playing nice? And then Jess and Josh start yelling at each other. Josh is like, is this your freaking... What is your definition of playing nice? And it's just like a lot of loud noises. Them yelling at each other. And Josh is saying that Cody would have no social game without Jess. And he's saying that Jess is going home on Thursday. And she says, thank God, I don't have to listen to your moronic speech anymore. So then Josh and Cody start exchanging personal attacks. Cody's saying that Josh is fat. And Josh is saying that Cody's ugly. And then, like, really, guys, really? Then Jess and Josh start screaming at each other. She starts walking closer to him. She's pounding this wooden spoon on the counter while Josh is just jumping around, like, dancing to the spoon noise. And then Cody steps between them. He's like, all right, let's, like, back it up here. So Josh is like, whatever, I might be fat, but at least I have a good heart, and I don't hold a grudge. And they're calling each other liars. They're calling each other baby and boo-boo. Why is it that Jess and Josh are always calling each other baby and boo-boo? I don't see them calling anybody else in the house that. It's always the two of them. It's really weird. But then Josh is saying, oh, well, you're going home. There's no more airtime for you, Jess. And she's like, I don't care. Something tells me she does care a little bit. But yeah, Josh is saying, I tried to play nice. And then things calm down a bit as Jess just continues making food. Cody's helping her. And then Josh is sitting at the dining room table. Everybody else has been standing around watching this fight. And then once things quiet down, they're just like, they're continuing on with their afternoon. And it's just like nothing happened. And it's so freaking bizarre. But Josh is just sitting there staring at Jess and Cody. And then he decides he's going to get up and go to the HOH room. So as he's walking up the stairs, he is yelling to Jess, you went on a power trip, you took a shot, and you effed up, boo-boo. And Jess says, kiss my ass. I was really hoping if anybody was going to say that, they would use like the Whitney Houston version from being Bobby Brown when she's all, kiss my ass. That's my favorite, but she didn't do that. So then Josh is saying, karma came and bit you in the ass. He said that like 2 or 3 times. So then Josh arrives at the HOH room door, and as he's walking in, he breaks down. It all comes out. He's been holding it in until he got to that door, and then once he hit that threshold, he was like, he's freaking out. Matt is in the HOH room, and he's just like, what are you crying about, buddy? Really? I saw freaking Matt and Raven standing on the balcony of the HOH room, like, watching this all happen, and he's like, what's wrong? Why are you crying? So Josh can't even answer at first. He's just crying for a bit. I mean, like, full-on sobbing, like, ugly cry. And he's like, I've never been attacked like that before in my life. And he's saying, I don't know what I did to that kid. He said he's going to destroy my future. Now, I just can't with this because Josh freaking provoked them again. He's done this time and time again. Yes, Jess made that snarky remark in the kitchen, like, can you spell drought? But then Josh decided to continue that. He had to do the whole can you spell eviction thing. Then he had to come over to them in the kitchen and be like, you want to talk about something? So, I mean, I feel like both parties here are guilty. Josh did provoke them, but Cody and Jess took it way too far with the personal attacks. So I'm not saying either of them are right in this situation. They all freaking suck, okay? Everybody in this house pretty much sucks, except for Kevin. So sometimes Kevin sucks a little too, but whatever. So anyway, yeah, he's crying, and then Matt is telling him, just take a deep breath. Just relax. Lucy's getting upset already, I can tell. It's one of those days. So Josh is saying he's upset because he's realizing now that Jess and Cody must have been saying really mean personal things about him behind his back. And that's why his mom said the things that she did in his HOH letter. And that's why she sent in the things that she did in his basket. And he's really upset about it because he does not want his family, she's out, to hear all these mean things about him. So then Paul comes in. And he's like, all right, homie, way to stand your ground. America can see who the real bullies are. And you never made it personal, but he did. And everything you said was game-related. Does everybody just have, like, selective memories or something? Because that's not what I saw. I mean, he did, for the most part, keep it game-related, but there were definitely some personal things in there, too. So then Paul keeps repeating all of the insults that Jody threw at Josh, and he's like, they said that you're fat and you're blah 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 and you're blah, blah, and he just keeps bringing it up over and over again, and he's like trying to get Josh all riled up about it, and he's saying like, that's not okay, but in the process he's getting Josh more upset. So then Paul's telling him like, never let anyone talk to you like that. Josh is saying he's upset that his family saw it. Oh my god. And that everyone saw it. It's on the feeds. So then people are making their way up to the HOH room. Meanwhile, Jess and Cody are outside by themselves. So then Paul is saying that he's upset, especially because his sister developed an eating disorder after she was bullied about her weight, and I feel really bad about that. That's really awful. But it's interesting because let's not forget that Paul is one of the people that calls Josh the Blob behind his back. What? Okay, I'm throwing that out there. But again, I feel awful about Paul's sister being in that situation. So then Paul keeps going on and on, repeating the same stuff, repeating all the things that Jess and Cody called Josh. And then he's like, where was Mark in all this? He's supposed to be Mr. Anti-Bullying. Why didn't he stand up for you? Did you stand up for Josh? Because I don't remember anybody opening their mouths in defense of Josh during this. So then, a few minutes later, Mark walks into the HOH room, and Josh says, Mark, get the F out of my room. Just get out. I need a few minutes. And Mark is like, what did I do? So then he leaves. And again, Paul and Christmas just keep this thing alive. In effect, they're riling Josh up. And then Josh starts saying, you know what? I'm going to make Cody's life a living hell once Jess is gone. I'm doing pots and pans 24/7. What? It's just like this freaking vicious cycle. So then Christmas is saying we should all grab pots and pans and sing this like weird ass song that she pulls together when Jess is evicted. Please don't sing that song. It's really bad. She is no Tim from BB Can with that Brothers song. She is no Justin from BBOTT. But anyway, they're like, yeah, we'll sing it. No, they won't. It wasn't good. Okay, so then Paul goes down to the Apple Lounge eventually where Kevin, Jason, and Mark are all chilling. They did not feel like going up to the HOH room while Josh was crying and everybody was like, oh man, Jess and Cody suck. So the others are still up there with Josh in the HOH room, just keeping it all alive. So then Paul is telling them it's not okay what Cody said, and I agree, it's not. He went way too far with it. But Jason is like, honestly, I don't want to deal with Josh crying for the next few days. Same. But Paul is saying, well, he was crying because of the personal attacks. And Mark is like, Josh is the one that started all that. And Paul's arguing, no, it was Jess that started the whole thing. And I think there's going to be a lot of disagreement, even among the viewers, over who started this whole thing. You guys heard what I had to say. I would love to hear what you have to say in the comments. But then Josh, back up in the HOH room, is like dismissing everybody. He wants some time alone to cry in the HOH room, which he does. And then everybody else goes down to the Apple Lounge, again, to keep all this shit alive. So then when everybody's in there, Paul calls out Mark in front of everyone, and he's just like, why didn't you say anything? Well, Cody was like beating up on Josh. Where were you when all this was going down? I thought you were against bullying. Why didn't you say anything? And Mark is like, I wasn't there for most of it. Like, he's saying that he didn't hear all of the like weight shaming comments and stuff. And Paul is like, are you sure? Like, I could have sworn you were in there. And he's like, no, I wasn't. So then Mark is getting upset that he's getting called out like this. He feels like he's being attacked by Paul in front of everybody. And Paul explains what happened for the millionth time. He's saying all the things that Jess and Cody said to Josh. And he's like, well, I want to hear how you feel about it now, because I know that you had a similar experience with bullying when you were growing up and people talking about your weight. So I want to hear what you have to say about it. So Mark is like, you know what I have to say? Nobody stood up for me when Josh personally attacked me. That's right. So then Mark is also arguing Josh was not innocent in all of this, okay? He was freaking provoking Jess and Cody yet again. So they keep going back and forth. They're debating who started all this, and they're debating if Josh's attacks on Mark were personal. And Paul is like, I'm not sure why you're not more upset about what went down considering what you've experienced before. And Mark is just like, what do you want me to say? Josh attacks people in the house, and then they retaliate, and he cries about it. So then Paul is just like really emphasizing the fat shaming comments again. It's just like, oh my god, it's too much. So then, as this conversation is happening in the Apple Lounge, Josh decides he's not done. So Jess and Cody are sitting outside alone. Josh walks outside with a pan, and he's like, are you guys ready for the concert for the next 2 days? And Cody's like, I'm gonna rip the pans right out of Josh's hands. So then Josh is saying, oh, Cody, have you explained to Jess how you lost the $500,000 for her yet? Have you told her that yet? So then Josh goes back inside. He's looking for another pan. Raven hands it to him, and then Josh comes back outside and starts doing his circus act again. And then Jess yells, go inside, fat ass! And then then Cody starts freaking walking very quickly towards Josh, and then, woo! Drop the feeds, cut the feeds. No, that's the end. We can't. So we don't see what the frig happens here. Oh my god, freaking Cody just like charged. He didn't really charge Josh, but he was like rushing towards him, and it was scary. So then the feeds come back a few minutes later. Mark and Paul are still arguing in the Apple Lounge about the same thing. I don't even know at this point if they know what just went down. They must have, right? Actually, I don't think they did. I think they were still in the Apple Lounge arguing. So Paul is trying to say that the pots and pans are not really a big deal. It's been done before. It's part of the game. So he's saying that's really just a way for somebody to get under somebody else's skin to mess them up for competitions and like mess with their heads. That is harassing, okay? That is harassment. You're harassing someone. So he's saying the personal attacks are not okay. Come on, man. Come on. So Paul is like, no, it's not wrong just to try to get under someone's skin. And Mark is like, okay, so you're saying that what Josh has done to me is okay because he wasn't using specific words, you know, like personal attacks. And finally he gets Paul to say like, yeah, okay, it's harassment, but it's part of the game. So he's still sticking with that. But Mark is like, you know what? When he was doing the pots and pans thing, it really brought me back to my childhood when I was being bullied. So that's not okay. And Paul's like, okay, whatever. So then Mark is saying it's comical that they're acting like Josh is a victim. Thank you. And he's also bringing up no one else defended Josh in the moment. Very true. So he's saying it's pathetic what this has come to. It seems like everybody just jumps on the bandwagon and it becomes a game thing because nobody wants to be outside of the group. Again, very true. Mark is making some very good points here. Eventually, Paul is just like, all right, well, I don't want you to feel like I was attacking you for not saying something, Josh, but I just felt like with your experiences in the past, you would have something to say about it. So they end up hugging at the end of the conversation. I don't think this thing's dead yet. But anyway, then out of nowhere, it seems like, Jason and Alex are arguing outside. What the F? At first I was just like, wait, is that really Jason and Alex? That doesn't make sense. Like, she's fake punching him all the time. But those punches sometimes are a little too hard. But anyway, yeah, they were arguing. So apparently, Jason was making some sort of comment that, like, everybody was making it worse after everything went down, going up to the HOH room and, like, egging Josh on and being like, aren't you upset that they said this? So Alex is like, no, it wasn't like that. I wasn't doing anything. So then Josh comes over to them and he explains that he wasn't upset about what Jess and Cody said. He was more emotional because he realized that they've been making personal attacks on him behind his back, and he feels like it's upsetting his family, and that's why he was so upset. So then Josh is saying, I don't need anybody to get involved in this. I can handle it. And they, like, resolve things and have a group hug. Whatever. So then Jason and Alex were talking alone a few minutes later about what happened when Cody charged Josh, and we didn't get to see it because the feeds went down. So apparently, Cody and Josh got a little bit close, and Alex jumped between them and was just like, you know, like, let's separate here, let's leave some room for Jesus here. And then apparently Raven, like, grabbed Alex to get her out of the way, and this was as Cody and Josh were, like, breaking apart. And I guess Josh, like, hit Raven's wrist with a pan or something by accident during the scuffle. So then Raven was like, oh my god, my wrist hurts. And she was like milking that all afternoon. So then Jason and Alex were talking about how annoyed they are with Raven and they don't trust her or Matt. So Jason's saying he's going to put them up on the block if he wins HOH. But the plan is still to backdoor Cody. Alright, so then, it's been a while since we've seen Cody on the feed, so has he been evicted or what? Like, what's going on here? But no, he reappears on the feeds. He was in the Rose bedroom with Jess, and it sounds like he got a warning or something along those lines from the diary room. Whatever. They're doing their thing in the Rose bedroom. And it sounds like Big Brother also told Josh no more pots and pans. And can you believe that freaking Matt and Raven were just like, I can't believe that Big Brother's not letting him do the pots and pans thing. And Matt's saying, like, that's an integral part of his game. And, really? I have nothing else to say about that. I'm just going to move on. So then, Mark and Josh were chatting in the Apple Lounge, and Josh is like, you know what, man? I'm going to be honest here. I was kind of upset that you didn't say anything to Cody about the bullying. And Mark is like, I wasn't in the room for any of the personal stuff. Like, I didn't hear any of that. And Josh is like, it's fine. You know, I blacked out. I'm a little bit annoyed that Josh is always saying that he blacked out during these events when he, like, freaks out on people, and that's just, like, an acceptable excuse, because it's not. But he tells Mark, like, we're golden, don't worry about it, and he explains he kicked Mark out of his HOH room because he just needed a moment, okay? He needed a moment, but they're fine now. Okay, so then Jason, Alex, and Paul were talking in the backyard, and Alex brings up, now this is interesting because I wanted to see how this was going to turn out. If you guys remember, in yesterday's spoiler, I mentioned that Cody pulled Jason aside, or they were doing the awnings in the backyard, and Cody asked him to throw a vote towards Raven this week, just so that it wouldn't be so lopsided against Jess, and also to freak Raven out. And Jason was considering it. He thought it was an interesting idea, an interesting proposition. So Alex brings this up to Paul, and Paul's just like, no effing way. No effing way. There's too much of a risk here. Cody could possibly try to swing this with a few different people and actually get the votes to keep Jess. Don't do it. Tell Kevin not to do it. It's dead. It's not happening. So later on, too, Kevin was saying, like, he's not going to be trying to work with Cody after all this. It's done. Because before, Kevin was like, ooh, you know, it could be a good idea to get Cody on our side, get him to take out some people for us. But now Kevin's saying that's done. It's not happening. Okay, back to Paul, Alex, and Jason. Christmas joins them, and they were talking again about how Raven inserted herself at the end of the whole Cody and Josh argument, and they're saying she's walking around with ice on her wrist now, and she's making everything about herself and one-upping everybody, and they're sick of it. So then, a few minutes after this conversation, this is interesting, I just had to mention this to you guys, Raven was on one of the lounge chairs in the backyard, and she was like on her hands and knees, clearly putting weight on both of her wrists, and then she tried to tackle Matt. That doesn't sound like something that somebody would do if their wrist was in so much pain. It went on my face! Okay. So anyway, later, I just had to do that. Later, Paul, Kevin, Alex, and Jason were in the Apple Lounge. Finally, we get some game talk. I just needed a break from all the bullshit. I was so excited to hear some game chat. So, again, they plan on backdooring Cody next week. Obviously, they want to vote out Jess this week. And they're saying they're going to need somebody to throw the temptation competition so that Cody can't do that and guarantee himself a spot in the veto competition because they want to backdoor him. So that's great, but at the same time, Cody could just win the TC. I mean, he's very good at competitions. But they're saying also they're going to need some strong people up as pawns to play in the power veto. They wanted to put up Matt and Raven just because they're really annoyed by them, but they're thinking, I don't know, that might not be the best move. So maybe like Matt and Mark, I don't know. But Matt is not very good at comps. He's not very good. Anyway, the rest of the night was just a lot of rehashing enough already. I'm sick of it. It's a lot. But Big Brother also continued with the sound effects last night and today. So there were all sorts of fun noises, like a motor starting up and like people chanting chug. Things like that. You know, I think there was an alarm, like a car alarm. Okay. So then today, people have been studying the sounds for the upcoming HOH competition. I bet something freaking insane happened while I was filming this. I would not be surprised. But anyway, Paul was trying to stir up some shit. He was talking to Alex and Josh in the money bedroom. And more talk about Mark not sticking up for Josh yesterday. And he's like, yeah, Josh, guess what? Mark was telling me that you were the one instigating the drama yesterday. And he was saying it was comical. So then Josh is like, oh, that's disgusting. So Paul is saying, but don't bring it up. Don't tell him I told you that. Of course not. So then it's pretty obvious here that Paul is trying to make sure that Mark is still going to be a target and he's not going to slip under the radar. But at the same time, they're saying if they can't get out Cody next, Elena is going to be the next target. So I think Paul is just trying to make sure that Mark stays on people's radars. So then, other than that, Big Brother gave the house guests new water bottles. And it was funny because the shape of these bottles was almost like a club. And it's just like they want them to beat each other with these water bottles. I don't know. But yeah, we have an eviction tomorrow. We'll see if anything starts up again today or tomorrow morning. We'll see. Let me know what you guys think in the comments of all this. And until tomorrow, much love.